thing is you have to find what you're good at. And I think we've all got some inner superpower. We're all good at something. Broken down into love life and then relationships.
When you have those low moments or phases in your life, how do you deal with them?
Cry.
Crying makes you weak, no?
I don't see myself as any different to anybody else.
My father died. I didn't cry.
I lived in 10 countries, which meant it was difficult to build sustainable friendships. If I had my time again, I would have got married later, which meant I would have had my children with me all the time rather than traveling backwards and forwards to London where they grew up.
If you had an opportunity to have a dinner with somebody, dead or alive, who would that person be? Hello and welcome to one more episode of Passionpreneur Podcast. You know, life is not just about chasing money, chasing success, chasing fame. It's about having a holistic success in all the areas of life. Life is about building mental and emotional strength, physical strength, the spiritual strength, financial strength, and the social strength as well. And as you know, the theme of this episode is how can you get into the league of 0.01% people who are holistically successful. And if you're watching this, I know you're committed in getting there. In today's episode, we bring that amazing gentleman who has been living the life with purpose, with intention, going from being successful in business to now successful in life. We bring you this amazing person who also is very popular in running his very popular podcast as well, bringing amazing celebrities and winning so many hearts. This man, I love him for his humor, his humility, and serving people through a lot of charities and initiatives. Let's welcome on the stage, on the podcast, Spencer.
Hi, I'm Spencer Lodge, founder of the Blue Sky Thinking Group and the host of Unscripted by Spencer, UAE's largest English-speaking podcast. You're listening to Passionpreneurs going from ordinary to legendary.
Welcome to the show.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. First of all, who are you as a person? Apart from all the success that you've had, monetary success, impacting, being an influencer, who are you as a person?
It's an interesting question to start with. I don't think most of us really know who we are as people. I think we have experiences remind us of who we'd like to be. And I don't think people most of the time like to look in the mirror and face who they actually are. But I don't see myself, I wear my heart on my sleeve, I say what's on my mind, I have no social filter, and I don't see myself as any different to anybody else. I don't see myself any better, any smarter, any more interesting than anybody else. I can't see what's different or special about me. I'm just a regular guy that did really badly at school, whose parents got divorced when I was young, and lived a life of trying to be somebody. And whatever that meant at the time that I was trying to be somebody, that's what I pushed towards, because recognition mattered, significance mattered, and proving to the doubters or the ones that didn't have my back, which was most, that I could be somebody in some way, somehow.
So that was the definition of your success, or what you're trying to do when you were young, right? At that time, to prove, to be significant, to have the name. So what was your success definition then, and what is your definition of success now?
That's interesting because it changes. It's not just young and old. It changes all the way through our life. And I think that I wanted to prove to the bullies from school that I could be somebody. So that was, as Tony Robbins says, the greatest revenge is massive success. There was a kind of an FU type of feeling towards getting some level of success, which was nothing if you look at it now. But back then, as a 20-year-old, it was, having my own car, and having a bit of cash in the bank and not living hand to mouth. And I don't mean a bit of cash as in 50, 100, 200,000. I mean like 1 or 2,000. That's what success was back then. But then success changed. Success was winning. For me back then, winning meant something to me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go deep into my childhood and you look at my life as a kid, and everyone's got their journey, and I had a sister who's got Asperger's. I grew up in a family where my dad went bankrupt and my mum became the breadwinner as they got divorced. And I watched a woman work 3 jobs and demonstrate to me that if you want to become successful, you've got to put the work in. But I think because my sister had Asperger's, I lived a life as an only child, but also as a lonely child. And I think craving some form of attention along the way mattered to me. And when I got it, that was probably a win for me as well, when you think about that.
Interesting. And what is your definition of success now?
For me today, my definition of success is having impact on as many people as I can, but not the impact that so many of these entrepreneurs tend to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
It's having impact on people whose lives you can change immeasurably, who have suffered. And whether that be people that have been trafficked in Bangladesh, whether that's people that have gone through horrible experiences in Nepal, or people even here in Dubai that just are no different to me, but just didn't get a roll of the dice that they should have done. And trying to make a difference to those people is what makes me the happiest. And I think that success is being really, really happy, because most people aren't.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the pillar. I mean, I love what you just said. A lot of people do not really understand that what ultimately matters in life is happiness and being fulfilled in doing what you love doing and serving others. I think the true human spirit thrives in being yourself, who you truly are, in your own skin, like knowing who you are, right? And serving others, right? For me also, this definition changed over a period of time. But let's look at the 5 pillars of life, and let's do a quick check as to how do you rate yourself in these pillars, right? So first pillar is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate yourself on your mental and emotional pillar of life? Like on 10 being like, I'm the best in that pillar, 1 is being the worst. Where do you rate yourself, like mentally and emotionally right now?
I wouldn't say mentally I'm strong or emotionally I'm strong, but I also wouldn't say I'm weak. You deal with what you've got to deal with. Sometimes you share that and look for comfort from others, and sometimes you own that yourself and sit in a dark corner and try and process it. But I don't think I'm any stronger than the average person mentally and emotionally. Other people have opinions of me, I'm sure, but I don't feel that inside myself.
That's very interesting. A lot of people don't openly and vulnerably, share this side that, people say, oh, I'm tough, 9, 10. People look at it, oh, everybody's tough and all that. That's interesting. So would you say somewhere 5, 6 is what you're going to rate yourself?
If that's the middle, then yeah.
Okay, interesting. And what about the physical pillar, the health?
I go to the gym every day. I work out, so I think I focus a lot, but I need that to help with my mental health. So physical is habits and rituals that benefit other aspects of my life. So yeah, I think I'm way up there as a 9 or a 10 on the physical side of things.
That's amazing. What about spirituality?
I don't get the word. I find I'm an atheist, and so I don't believe in religion. And not that anybody should or shouldn't, that's just what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But if being kind is spiritual, then I'm spiritual. If being kind isn't, then I'm probably not.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to just tap into this in a little bit. To me, I thought I was not spiritual. Like, to me, growing up, I thought religion means spirituality. But then I realized spirituality is completely different. And as I walked the path, I went to a lot of places like Vipassana. I don't know if you heard of Vipassana. It's, again, a very deep meditative process that you completely seclude yourself for 10 days from the external world. No cell phone, no book, no pen, and you just meditate. It starts from observing your breath to eventually observing your body sensations. And then eventually you start realizing that the thoughts that you have, you start dissecting that, this is what I'm thinking. This is how I'm thinking. I used to think I'm not an egoistic person. I'm very humble, sweet, nice kind of person. But then that's only one form of, person. But when I started going to Vipassana, when I was nothing else and just observing my own thoughts, I was bloody judgmental. I was looking, what is this person wearing? Oh, I'm better than this person. Oh, I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm making money. Then this analysis of myself and knowing myself became more clearer when I went to Vipassana. So going through so many experiences, Vipassana, Sadhguru, Isha, and I'm doing Raj Yoga as well. I think spirituality has given me another dimension of looking at life from energetic point of view. And I'm sure you'll agree, we all are energetic beings. We all are nothing but more of energies. And I started looking at different energies of life that, words have energy, places have energy, intention have energy. And I think that, has really played a big part on my role. So right now, my definition of spirituality, just to share with you, is knowing who you truly are. That is spirituality, one part of it. And I'm sure you already know it. And being of service to others, helping others to grow in life. And I think you are absolutely highly spiritual, right? You may not term it, but you are a highly spiritual person. And you radiate a lot of love and energy. Whenever this is the second time we're meeting. The first time I met you, you're very warm, very kind-hearted, loving. So you definitely rate higher from my perspective. All right. Let's talk about
Thank you. I'll take that.
Yeah. And let's talk about finances. How would you rate yourself, financial energy or financial pillar on a scale of 1 to 10?
Financial energy, what does that mean?
It means making a lot of money, or you have abundance in money.
Am I financially secure?
Yeah, secure, or well-to-do, abundant.
Well, you go to Monaco, you'll never be the richest man there.
That's true.
You'll probably never be the richest man in Dubai either.
But your life with yourself, like how do you rate yourself?
I have enough for what I need,
so high.
and I probably have enough for others too. So I'm okay.
That's nice. What about the social life, like relationships?
Broken down into love life and then relationships outside of that.
Yes.
I think I'm a lousy husband. Not for reasons that you jump to when you think about it, but I don't think growing up as an only child, I think I'm a bit of a loner. And so I don't need anybody around me. I like, I'm married, I have a wife. I like to have her around me, but I don't need her. So that doesn't make me somebody that's so focused on that type of relationship. I think the relationships that I probably resonate more towards resonates with people that have shared values, shared mission, and want to try and make the small differences to the world that I want to.
Interesting. From one of the documentary I was watching, it was about Live Till 100. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on Netflix. Such a beautiful documentary. One of the documentary, they said there are 4 pillars for somebody to have a longer life and happy and healthy life. Is, ikigai, is that they're following the passion and purpose, and also eating right and movement. And then the 4th pillar is the social life, like how they're connecting with people. So, I can resonate with what you're saying, because I was myself very loner and being alone, quiet. And off late, I've changed a lot of things in my life in all the areas. So if I have to ask you for your life, what are the areas that you are working on right now that you think, what, these are the top priorities? And in social as well, relationship is also, the contribution angle is there. Like, you're doing something. It's love relationships is one, and others, and charity is another one. I love what you're doing with, the people, kids from orphanage from Bangladesh. Really hard to what impact that you guys are making. What actually drove you to that angle and serve people? Because to me, that really is the wealth that you're making a difference.
It was an accident. I joined something called the Social Capital Club, which took place every Saturday at the Capital Club. And it was a get together of people that wanted to work on the global sustainability goals. And it was kind of ineffective as a group. They talked a lot, they didn't action, but they had a few people come to talk, and those people had very powerful stories. One of them made a movie called The Price of Free. I forget what his name is. An Indian guy that saved, I think, 80,000 children out of child slave labor. And he had a real impact on me when I heard his story, because he did it with his bare hands. And then I met a lady called Maria Conceição that had saved hundreds of children from the slums of Bangladesh. And I felt the pain of those children somewhere deep inside of me. And that pain is obviously something I'd experienced at some point in my life in some way, somehow, but it really connected with me. And from that moment onwards, it was my duty, my responsibility, my desire, and my honor to be able to help serve these children in some way that I could. But it really changed everything about how I thought. I was the money, success, work, career, ambition, I was that guy. I was all of those things that young people that want to be successful are. Thought I was fantastic. I made a lot of money, had all the nice things that you'd buy. But they taught me that all of those things are so incredibly insignificant. And to understand that, my worst day ever was beyond the wildest dreams of their best day ever. And that gave me real kind of clarity on who I wanted to be as a human being and what I felt my duty moving forward was going to be.
Interesting. And how long, it has been that you've been involved in this time?
7 years.
7 years.
8 years now. Sorry, it's 2024. Yeah, 8 years.
Interesting. Let's coming back to the pillars of life, right? You spoke about the mental and emotional pillar, which a lot of people underestimate. I see a lot of people, go, run up, do the hustle hard, work hard, make money. But I see a lot of people burning out in terms of mentally, emotionally. And they're like, man, what am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Did you have any of these experiences in the past that you burn out? Or you feel like, man, why am I just chasing money? Why am I working hard? And then you're going through a lot of emotional ups and downs in life?
I don't think people burn out.
Yeah.
If you love what you do, you don't burn out.
That's interesting.
People that do what they have to do burn out. And so a lot of people go through this, Indians as well, this path of high school, university, mum and dad influenced to study a certain degree, going then on to a job that's a grad scheme that becomes a permanent job, that becomes a salary here, salary there. And it doesn't breed entrepreneurship. It just breeds people having to live their lives on a budget they're giving every month from the company that they work for. And while some of the work might be stimulating and some of the people might be stimulating, the fact is you're trapped. Whether you like it or not, you're trapped. And whether it's $2,000 or $20,000 a month that's your salary, you still have to live your whole life within those means. For me, being an entrepreneur is freedom, it's control. And if I want to be really successful and do really well, then that's on me. And it's not for anybody to judge. And it's not for anybody to compare, because they're not walking in those shoes. But burnout comes because you don't like what you do. Burnout comes because you're not in love with what you do. Burnout comes because you have to do it because you've got a mortgage and a car installment and a whatever other bill to pay, and you're trapped.
Yeah.
And burnout's coming from, this feeling of hate. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Oh, hold on a minute. There was a reason before. Now there's no reason. That's because I don't like what I do.
Yeah. I share this a lot with the people is the, you have a certain energy, and if that is not aligned with the connected to universe, you will experience this. And I see a lot of people, like including myself. I was 36 years old. I still remember I was going to job.
You only look 36 years old.
I'm 41 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was 36 and I was going to job, and I was like, why am I doing this? There's no fulfillment. There was no joy. I'm making, $5,000, which was a decent pay in terms of job in India, living a good life. Why am I doing this? And I felt like, man, there's something bigger. There has to be a bigger purpose than what I'm doing. And you're absolutely right. The day when I found my bigger purpose, which was, man, I want to help other people. I want to contribute. I want to serve people, because I was suffering from mediocrity. The definition of mediocrity is doing less than what your potential is. And we are mediocre at certain stages of life, different, whether you're making 1 million or 10 million, we become that mediocre. And then when I was not able to maximize my potential and contribute, that's when I felt, that I'm feeling burnout, or what am I doing this? So absolutely right. But how do people actually find what they're really passionate about? The whole life, most of the people watching this, they never understood what they're really passionate about. And they're just following the blueprint that society had given them.
I think the first thing is you have to find what you're good at. And I think we've all got some inner superpower. We're all good at something, naturally we're all good at something. If you put me on a construction site, I'm going to be hopeless. If you put a Lego kit in front of me, I'm going to be hopeless. And if you put a puzzle in front of me, I'm going to get impatient. I've got the things that I'm naturally good at. And so the first thing you do is you lean into that, what you're naturally good at. What will happen is when you're naturally good at something, you're better than others. And so there'll be recognition for that, which will feed you and stimulate you. Then to pursue your passion, I think is wild. I think an entrepreneur shouldn't pursue their passion. I think they should pursue what will give them the most fulfillment commercially. The stuff that I do that's my passion has nothing to do with my work.
Okay.
The work that I do with the children, the time that I spend with them is deeply rewarding. But it's not my work. It's what I do outside of my work. It's what I do with my spare time. And so, I think I hear this a lot, and I just think it's, follow your passion. It's like your passion might be to be a blooming fighter pilot, but you might wear glasses like me and you've got no chance of ever being one. So why would you do that? Serving others, I see this is a facade as well for lots of people. I want to serve others. No, you want to sell courses. That's not serving others. Serving others is where you do something for nothing. That's a serving of others. I'm serving you. Okay. I want to build a business where the business that I have helps people learn X or Y. That's fine. But let's not romanticize it and dress it up into something that it's not actually. And let's get real with it. My skill is, let's say my skill is sales. I want to teach people to be better salespeople because they can go out and earn more money and live a better life. Okay. So you're going to sell them something. I go out and serve. Serving is going once a month and taking a day to work as a volunteer and volunteer for people less fortunate than yourself for a day every month. That day's work that you put in will be the best day of your month. It will be any other day that you spend that month. It doesn't matter what you do. It'll be your best day. It's fulfilling. You leave with a deep sense of gratitude. And that gratitude is almost like having an injection of something good to last you a whole month. And so that's when I see serving. I don't see serving as business people because I'm going to make some money out of them.
Well, I think we all have different perspectives on that, and I have a different perspective.
Of course we have. No. Hey, my opinion's mine. It doesn't mean everybody has to share it.
Yeah, that's right. What is your purpose in life? Do you have like a mission or a purpose?
So I have a purpose around my children about making sure that they have a good start in life. And so they're 21 and 24 now. So I believe I'm nearly there, not quite. I have a purpose around the people I'm responsible for in my businesses, and the purpose I have around the work I do with my podcast when I talk to people and share their stories. It's there because I want other people to benefit from that, so it can inspire them. And so there's a great sense of purpose around that too. Do I have one thing? No.
So you have multiple things.
But do I get my joy, my deep, deep joy from the work that I do with love? There's nothing that's ever in my life compared, no matter what. Nothing has come close to the comparison of putting yourself in an environment where people have been through so much pain and you can make a small difference because it gives you such perspective. Just on Saturday, just a few days, so today's Tuesday, isn't it? One of my friends took his life. It was in Abu Dhabi, he passed away. And when you hear that, the first thing you think is how sad that must be. But then it makes you think, think about your problems. Are they really as big as you make them out to be? And that's what being with these children does for me. It makes me realize that I don't have problems. I don't have challenges. I don't have obstacles. It's a walk in the park what I do compared to what they've been through.
That's interesting. So that brings me to this area again of mental and emotional toughness, right? How do you deal with those low moments? Like, somebody, willing to end the life. Can imagine, what the pain, suffering the person would have gone through. You have no idea. So when you have those low moments or phases in your life, how do you deal with them?
I cry. I seek solace.
Crying makes you weak, no? A lot of people say that,
Crying
men don't
weak.
cry. A lot of people say that. I'm just saying a lot of people say these things.
Go and chop an onion. Crying doesn't make you weak. It's like, I find this fascinating how these macho men have got this idea that men are men and women are women. So when you're a kid, you're allowed to cry, but you're a boy then. You're allowed to cry. You're not allowed to cry as a grown up. I think it demonstrates vulnerability, but also I believe that you think about what crying actually is. It's water escaping from your eyes, or something like water, let's call it water, that escapes from your eyes based upon how you feel about something. Now, that could be a movie.
Yeah.
It could be a song, that makes you cry. You get a physical reaction for a feeling you have. We all have dark times, some self-inflicted, some not. We have dark times. And for me, being vulnerable is the way that I handle it. If having a stiff upper lip and keeping it to yourself is the way that other person handles it, then it's up to them. But what I've learned is that people that don't share their emotions are typically the ones that go through a lot and try and keep it in and then suffer more pain, much like the friend that I had that went through what he went through at the weekend.
Yeah, because it piles up, and you avoiding. And there's avoidant energy, again, is very dangerous.
It's like, if you've got to go to the doctors, okay, when you're over 50, you have to go to the doctors and you have to have a test, okay, to see whether you've got cancer up your bum, basically. And you've got this test where the doctor used to put his finger up your bum or his thumb up your bum, yeah? Horrible thing to think about, okay? Oh my God, that's going to happen. Highly embarrassing, okay? I've had it done. It's not pleasant, okay? But you have to have it done because they have to check prostate test for your prostate cancer. And it's embarrassing. I remember when I went for colonic irrigation once, about 15 years ago, someone said it was a really good idea. I've never been so humiliated in my life, as doing something like that. I felt like an absolute idiot, okay? My partner at the time thought it was hilarious, because she went every 3 months and had it done, and it was just normal. But for me, the embarrassment and the humiliation of it was awful. This thing around crying, it's like, we're ashamed to cry. It's embarrassing to cry.
Yeah.
If that's the way you deal with it, that's the way you deal with it. And that's absolutely fine. And I do. I like to be alone. I don't like to sit and, shed my tears around other people necessarily, but I like to be alone. And I like to escape from everyone and everything when I have my dark times. And I slowly come out the other side, and then, you dust yourself down, you roll your sleeves up, and you get up and you fight another day, don't you? And you just live your life like that.
That's very interesting. I think the people who are disconnected from their emotions, in terms of being avoidant, who don't embrace, there are good times you enjoy and embrace. When there are dark times, tough times, why don't you enjoy that as well? This is the way you cry, and it's still, when you enjoy, it's just you experience it. And that has been one of the hard part for me, by the way. I have been the person, even when my father died, I didn't cry. I'm like, why is that? And when I'm starting to understand and realize that just having a macho figure as a man is not really, really helping you, right? You got to be yourself. Open up. Be vulnerable. If you feel like crying, cry, right? And then I started doing that a little bit more, and I started feeling that, this is actually not bad. Like that moment, it actually relieves you. In fact, a lot of people go through past life regression, family consolation, go through the inner child, the subconscious. And all these practices are nothing but to bring the emotions that you've been hiding away. You cannot hide them. It'll come back and bite you. More you suppress, more it'll come back and bite you.
And it's been proven many times with certain people that they don't come back with more emotion. They come back with more aggression.
Yeah.
And they do things, violently to themselves or other people or environments that are essentially a reaction
from the past. Yeah. And I think the inner child concept has become very, very interesting of late for me to understand and learn that there's always an inner child, that, there's a personality within us that, we are not embracing right now. Good. If you go back in time, reliving your life again, what are the mistakes that you've made that you would want to avoid now? And people watching this, they can learn from your journey that mistake I would want to definitely avoid.
So we have some stats that will kind of back up my feelings on some issues. Well, first of all, 50% of marriages end in divorce in the West. They don't end up in divorce as much in India, for example.
Yeah, but they don't come out, but there's still relationship not so healthy.
So less people get divorced in India. However, more people live as brother and sister rather than lovers in long-term marriages in India. There's data on this. True. So people stay together, but they don't stay together passionately and romantically.
Yeah.
They just exist. So that's the first thing. So on the back of that comes my first piece of advice I would be giving myself, which is don't get married so young. So I got married at 26. I think it should be against the law for men to be married under the age of 40.
Wow, 40.
I think it literally should be a crime if you get married under because I don't think men are mentally mature enough for marriage at young age. Now I know there'll be people out there, the outliers that will be, I got married at 21 and I'm still married 25 years later. So, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not what most people do. Most people end up getting these mistakes. And I grew up in
I have my fair share, by the way. I got divorced as well. So
So I was married for 5 years, and I promised myself when I got married I was never going to get divorced because that happened to me, and I wanted my kids to grow up without that. And lo and behold, the same thing happened. So absolutely, people that get married should, first of all, never, ever bow to the pressure of parents or other family members. Number two, be really sure that person is the right person. And number three, realize that no matter what you think, at 25 years old, you don't know anything. Okay.
That's the truth.
Don't know anything. You are not worldly. You are not wise. You are not smart. You're not a relationship guru. Okay. You are not.
And the funny part is the relationship education has not been given to us growing up. Only now people are starting to become aware. I should read books. I should, take some courses and all that. But yeah, go on.
So I agree. So for sure that I think that I lived in 10 countries, which meant it was difficult to build sustainable friendships. And although I have friends, lots of them came and went along the way. And so for many years, I lived a very transient life with kind of part-time friends or friends of convenience, which is sad. If I had my time again, I would have got married later, which meant I would have had my children with me all the time rather than traveling backwards and forwards to London where they grew up. And now my eldest is living with me in Dubai. It's just such a blessing and so much fun, and her energy in the house is just incredible that I'm sad that I missed out on a lot of that. Even though I was going backwards and forwards every other weekend to London, it has been just joy, a joy of joys having her here in Dubai. How I attempt to get my youngest to come and do the same, I don't know. She's firmly against it at the moment, but maybe that will change. So that for sure, spending time with them would have been different. And then I look at my career and I wish I'd have had a mentor. So I had a mentor when I was really young, but as I got into my kind of like my 30s and started to become really successful, I wish I'd have had a professional coach, a professional mentor, somebody that could guide me through the areas that I was clearly making mistakes with. Someone that could keep me grounded and remind me, who I was and, not to get bigger than my boots, and made me aware of my arrogance.
Did you become arrogant?
Oh, I was an obnoxious dick.
Really?
Yeah, I thought my shit didn't stink. I thought I was incredible. I really did. I just thought I was
Did it backfire in some ways?
Horrendously.
Really?
Because I became a maverick and a renegade, and that worked against me. I became disillusioned, and all because I thought I was amazing, and that really isn't a part of my life I'm proud of at all. I'm ashamed of that. So I really wish I'd have taken the time to pay somebody to spend time with me once every 2 weeks. Okay, couple of hours of dinner, whatever it was. Okay, so that they could just hear me and guide me, because I didn't have that. So I wish I had that. And then I wish I'd have spent more time pursuing things that I really enjoyed doing, because I was all about my career. So I made lots of sacrifices because the career came first, and I missed out on some things that I should have done that I didn't. And I'm busy making up time to do those things now.
Like what?
Well, climbing mountains and spending time in nature, in real nature, exploring. I always wanted to ride a motorbike across the Pan Pacific Highway from Canada to Santiago in Chile, and I never did that. I could have done that. I just didn't make time for it. There's a rally called the Mongol Rally that goes from London to Mongolia, where you're given £500 to buy a car, and that car has to make it basically halfway across the world.
Wow.
That for me would have been an amazing adventure, but I never found the time because you needed 90 days to do it. These types of things, I think that I've missed out on that. And I look at my dad now, who's in his late 70s, nearly 80, and I think he's missed out on some things as well. And I don't want to be that guy.
Interesting. Talk to me about the time when you said that you became arrogant because you didn't have the mentor at that time. Because I see a lot of people, getting a little bit of success, and their success gets into the head, and they start flying. It happened with a lot of my students, a lot of people. How did that backfire exactly?
I got fired.
Really?
From a company I built. From a company that I was part of building.
That's
and I built the biggest part.
How many years do you dedicated for that company?
16 years.
Wow. How did you take that at that time?
I planned my death. I nearly committed suicide. Wow. It was a very dark period in my life. Yeah, the darkest of any period.
How old were you at that time?
42.
Gosh. And how did you come out of that?
Slowly and carefully, and by spending time with people that were less fortunate than me, that made my problems seem trivial by comparison. It leans back to the thing that I said earlier. When your worst day ever is beyond the wildest dreams of their best day ever, it really does give you some perspective.
That those experiences that you went through probably is, now made you the person who you are, wiser, smarter. What are the things that you would advise all the people watching this not to do?
The first thing that we think when we're young is that money equals happiness. We think that, the car, the clothes, the watch, the house, the image is everything. And as we get older, we look at that and we think, what a shame, because we realize how insignificant it really is. The trouble is you can't stop anybody doing that.
Yeah, they have to taste it, then they go through it and say, right, okay.
That you can tell them about your experience, but they've got to go through that journey, which is so sad, because you don't think your parents know anything, but your parents know so much more than you. You think your parents are idiots when you're in your 20s. You're like, what do you know? You're old. You don't know what life's all about. But they do, because I'm that parent now. And so my daughter's exactly the same. She says, I love you, Dad, but whatever. And I'm like, do you want to be successful? Yes, I know you're successful, Dad, but you weren't successful the way that I'm. Baby, it's not the same. I know that. And I deeply wish that there was a way of helping young people understand that, so they didn't make that mistake. When you get older, you realize that, first of all, you can have a lot of money, but if you don't have any form of significance in your life, there's no way of using that to bring value to other people, then you'll just have a lot of money. And it's really lonely having a lot of money. And a good example of this is when I was fired from that company, I was on gardening leave for a year. So I was paid not to work for 12 months, which was, when I signed the document, I was fine with. I was like, that's a great idea.
It's fun, right?
But what you realize is that all of your mates are at work. So when you want to go and travel around the world and go and spend time with them, well, they go to work on Monday morning. They can't take a month off and go travel with you. All of your friends are busy with their careers. Even if they have money, they're busy with their careers and their businesses. And so having money and being on your own is, it's useless. It's like having chopsticks at a barbecue. I mean, it's about as useful as being handcuffed to a ghost. It's like as useful as a chocolate fire guide. All these statements, it's just not, it doesn't make any difference. You have to learn. And again, some people learn sooner than others, so there's not a time frame, but you have to learn that if you spend your time with acts of service for others, you'll find fulfillment. It may not be everything, but it will remind you of how lucky you are to be in the position you're in. And it will remind you to be grateful for that. And I used to think gratitude was some nonsense word. What is it? What did they say? Attitude is great. Gratitude is whatever it was. Attitude is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
attitude is gratitude. And I used to be like, what a load of nonsense. Have the attitude of gratitude. But now I'm like, as I grew up, and again, I matured, I realize how important that is. You hear people that journal. Oh my God, why do you journal, for goodness sake? Why write
such a loser.
Why writing down in your notepad every night? Why would you do that? But it's like, if you were to write down everything you were grateful for at the end of every day, that's got to have some form of psychological impact to keep your mind in a positive state. So there's real value to these things. And not everyone does them because they do different things. I've been sometimes with people that have done it on their phone, and I just think they're ignoring me, but they're actually sitting down there busy writing down their gratitude journal. Oh, God, look, this from Spencer's. I'm so happy about that. So I think a lot of the time it's a case of really, really, really look at people that are ahead of you, look at people who have achieved what you want to achieve, and then ask them really, really, really
to help you.
Okay, where happiness comes from and what they could do. And don't ever go to somebody and ask them to help you for free. It's so important you don't. Now you say, I've got no money. Well, guess what? There could be something you could give them in return. All right. It's like, never, ever, ever go and ask for somebody for free, and never ask somebody for a discount. To me, it's first of all, it's rude. And secondly, it's rude on you, because if you're going and trying to get a discount, you're not valuing what that person has to bring. If I have to pay £5,000 a month to have a mentor, people go, well, that's outrageous. It's not, because I'm paying 5,000. Okay, I'm earning way more than that. Or at least I aim to earn more than that.
The return will be more.
And it's like, to me, it's all the time. It's just like discount, cheap, free. Can I just have your advice? Can you, if you got an hour you can give me? It's like, no, I haven't got an hour I can give you. Okay. Oh yeah, but I'm starting my career and I'm just, okay.
That's entitlement mindset.
Come to me with something you can offer me. I've got nothing to offer you, but I can wash your car every day for the next month if you give me half an hour of your time once a week. Okay. There, we've got a deal, haven't we? Okay, I might accept it, I might not, but bring me something.
Yeah. I think universe also does not reward people who are just freebie seeker, because when you looking to get something for free, universe will take it away from you. And everything that happens has to be a balance.
I don't think people go, I want it for free. I think they go, I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I think they come from this kind of like this victim mindset. Okay.
Poor me, help me.
Yeah. Poor me, help me. Oh, please, sir, please, sir. And it's like, shut up. I'm not interested in your nonsense. Okay. If you want me to help you, think about the value you can bring to me first, so you compel me to help you. Okay. And then in essence, I have a win and you have a win.
Interesting. Now, let's talk about finances, because a lot of people watching this, they're looking to start the business, grow the business. You've done it very successfully. What advice would you give to people if they want to be successful? Let's say they want to make their first 7-figure. What is the advice you want to give them? $1 million.
First of all, understand the skills you need to be able to make that kind of money. So most people make lousy entrepreneurs. Okay, because entrepreneurship at the beginning of a journey is called startup or one-man band or sole trader or something like that. And you don't have all the skills to run a business. I believe the most important skill to have is you need to know how to sell.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a skill. It's not a natural ability. It's a skill like anything else. Learn how to sell. Take as many courses, read as many books. Don't take free courses. Pay someone who's an expert in selling to teach you how to sell. Buy the book. Don't get it from the library and make excuses. Go and learn, because if you can sell, you can make money. Now, there's entrepreneurs and there's intrapreneurs. So you take the network marketing industry. Everyone in there doesn't get any salary. They all earn money from selling the products that have already been made, from the infrastructure that's already put together, from the brand that's already established. All they actually have to do is have to go and sell the products to people and then recruit other people in to sell those products too. So you're selling from a recruitment point of view, and you're selling the products and the benefits they bring. You haven't got to fork out any money. Okay, so that's the first thing to remember. You haven't got to fork out any money. Secondly, and you're learning how to sell, and you're making money, and you'll make money. And once you make money, you'll start to make more money, because you'll get confident, you'll get better, and you'll get consistent. When you then have got some money behind you and you want to make this $1 million, then my belief is you need to have an idea, and then you need to test if this idea is going to work. All right. So the first thing you do, okay, and this will seem alien to young people, go with a clipboard to a train station or to a supermarket, department store, shopping area with a clipboard, and pitch your idea to people and say, I've got this idea. Do you think it will work?
Interesting.
Okay. Let's say you do that to 100 people and 95 of them go, never. Okay, then you've got a rough idea, haven't you, that maybe it won't work. But if you've got 30 that are like, you know what, that's a really good idea, then you know there will be some interest. So that's the first thing I do. Secondly, I'd go online and I'd create some discussion groups around it. I'm thinking about this. Okay, what would you do? Okay, how would you do it? Do you think something like this would work? Now, a lot of people think, oh, but my idea is going to be out in the open and someone's going to steal it. Your idea is worth nothing. Okay, and if someone does steal it and beats you to it, that's on you, not on them. So that's the next thing I would do. I would make sure that my idea through discussion groups had some validity. Then I'd create a process where I'd say to myself, right, how do I get people to buy this product or service that I want? And I'd look at the different, depending whether it's B2B, B2C, whether it's high value, low value, I'd look at the approach that I would use there. And if you know how to sell, and you know how to market, and you know how to test, and then you add on it this outrageously large dose of work ethic, this obscenely obsessive, ridiculous amount of work ethic, then you've got a fighting chance of getting somewhere. But I'm going to tell you for nothing, $1 million is tough. And if you think it's easy, then you're naive. And if you think you deserve it, then you're an idiot. Okay. You deserve nothing. Okay. Yeah. You go out and get what you deserve. You go and get it. You go and take it. And that comes invariably on this horrible hockey stick of life that we have to deal with. It's just like the hockey stick of business. We've got to put a load in before we get anything out. If you put 50% in, you don't get equal out. You've got to put in 150% to get much less out. But eventually the tide will turn. Eventually that chart will change and that line will start to shoot up, because you've made all the mistakes. You've got everything wrong. You've tested everything. You've trialed everything. You've worked your ass off. You've understood your market. You've understood the audience. You've understood your product. And you're now in a place where people believe in you because you're now credible and trustworthy, and they get behind you and they buy your product in whichever form it's delivered in.
And typically, how long does it take to get to your first million?
Well, I was 23 when I went into financial services. I'd made £1 million when I was 26. I had £1 million in the bank, £1 million in the bank when I was 28. So I remember I've got a photocopy of the bank statement somewhere. That was 5 years for me, but that's in the 90s. And so the reality is that's an inflationary amount away. Yeah. And maybe that's the equivalent to 2 million today. Who knows?
Yeah. But I think compared to those times, I think things have become much easier. Like those days, social media was not nothing. You had to literally go phone call, meet people, meetings and all.
I didn't even have emails when we started.
There you go. So it was much more difficult. It's $1 million then, but probably was worth 5 million now. So now to make $1 million, for me, it took me about 2.5, probably 3.5 years to make my first $1 million in business, then to have in the bank maybe 1 more year. So all of you watching, becoming millionaire is not a far dream. If you follow the process, learn sales, learn marketing, put yourself, tremendous amount of discipline. And do you also have to sacrifice when you're actually on that journey of going all in into the business? Do you end up sacrificing some part of your life?
Look, the funniest thing about this all is that what you have to remember is most people are called sheep. We call them sheeple. They're followers. Most people aren't going to do what's required. And it's systems and processes repeated over and over. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's hard for some people, but the reality is the people that fail are the people that don't stick with the program.
Yeah.
So if you've got to make 100 calls a day, if you've got to send 100 emails out a day, if you've got to do 100 social media posts a day, whatever it may be, 100 buyers a day, 100 people to raise money from, whatever it may be, if you do it based upon the systems and processes and you're relentless, then you'll get there. Now, of course, you've got to make sacrifices because it's time sacrifice, more time at the beginning, okay, to give you more time later on.
Later on, yeah.
But what actually happens is it gives you more time later on, but you love it so much that you keep doing it anyway.
That's the trap you fall into.
So you can have all the time in the world when you go on, but you're going to be addicted to it like crack cocaine. It's my baby.
That's so true, actually. I love it. And I think with that business, if it is aligned towards your purpose and that gives you fulfillment and joy, nothing like it, right? A lot of people do the business just for the sake of doing business and making money. They make money, but again, coming back to your point, then they realize this is not giving me fulfillment. So following what you really, really are passionate about in terms of your purpose, in terms of your mission, is aligning with making a big difference in other people's lives. I think that is a philosophy, I would say, to make real decent life with passion and purpose. If you have to go back in time, and if you have to make change into 20-year-old, what change would you make going back?
I think that, I didn't get much of an education. And I didn't get much of an education because there wasn't a correlation between education and benefit. It was like, because you're told to. And that clearly didn't work for me. And it was perceived that I was just difficult, a slow learner, or I couldn't learn stuff, and that was kind of like the box I was put in.
Yeah.
But when I learned about how to make money, that was really interesting. When I learned about financial services and how you can bulletproof people's financial futures and how the financial markets worked and how tax worked, when I learned about that learning about that meant I'd make money. So there was a correlation. Rather than, who wants this piece of paper that says you did well at school? I mean, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
The only people that care are your parents. Because that doesn't, this doesn't determine who you're going to be in life.
Yeah.
These 5 O levels, this degree in whatever it is, business, international, it doesn't determine who you're going to be. Okay. Proof of that is most of the most successful people in the world didn't get one. Most of the most successful people in the world didn't get one. And the majority of the most successful entrepreneurs in the world never went to university. Why is that? Why is it? And that's because our parents are fearful and they want to push us down a path, okay, to make sure that we don't live the life that they ended up living because they gave up on themselves. Yeah. That's the truth of it. My daughters went to university. They're the first kids in my history of my family to ever go to university. No one's ever been.
Really?
No one's ever been. My grandfather was a multimillionaire construction company that he built from nothing. Okay. My uncles have been successful. None of them universities. My daughters went and they said, why are we going? I'm like, because you can get a further education and I'm paying for it. So, but the condition is, you study whatever you want to study. You are not going to be pushed by me to study something that I think is good for your future. So my youngest studied making film because she wants to make films. She's passionate about that. She cares about that. And my eldest studied art and graphics because that's what she cared about. Now, could they have gone to work 4 years sooner and learned more? Yeah. But the one thing that university does that everything else, that everywhere else doesn't, is that university teaches you to learn. That's it. The rest of it, as far as I'm concerned, it's outdated and nonsense unless you're dealing with the latest and the greatest. Imagine going to study medicine at university now and being taught what they were taught in the 1970s. That's mad, isn't it?
Crazy.
But that's not what they teach in medicine, but it is what they teach in classrooms. Why?
Self-education is the way.
So go back those 20 years. What would I have done different? I wouldn't have got married so soon. I'd have been more committed to learning more. I'd have been less arrogant when I made money. I'd have made much better financial decisions that I made, because I made some howlers, like some real howlers. And I would have been wise enough back then to spend 1 day a month volunteering.
Wow, that's amazing.
Because that one thing, I think, will shape your whole life, because it stops you looking at it selfishly, and it starts to help you understand selflessness. Okay. And when you give, you receive way more.
That's so true. Powerful. If you had an opportunity to have a dinner with somebody, dead or alive, who would that person be and why?
My daughters.
Wow. Why is that?
Because I love them to bits and they're my favorite people.
Beautiful. I love this answer. A lot of people say, spiritual gurus, politicians, actors, stars.
It's not relevant. My kids are, my mum, my dad, the people that I love dearly. They're the people that are significant in my life, and they're the people that gave me theirs. And so, yeah.
Isn't it funny? Like, life is full circle. Like, as a kid, family was the most important, then became money, and then this thing, and now you're coming back to the same circle. Yeah. Isn't it funny? They're coming back to the family.
The feeling that I, when I help those kids, is incredible. The feeling of having my daughter with me in Dubai is I can't tell you how good it feels. And even when she walks in some evenings and she goes straight to bed because she's exhausted at 8:30, 9 o'clock, I love just having her there, and it's something that we go through life with children. When they're small, oh, they're great. When they're kind of like 10 years old, oh, they're great. Oh, they become teenagers and they're a bit difficult. I can't tell you how cool it is having a 24-year-old living in my house with me. Beautiful. Okay. It's as cool as can be. And I said, I'm going to climb Mont Blanc in the summer. Do you want to come? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to learn to skydive. Do you want to do it? Yeah. It's just amazing.
It's opposite of all Western culture, isn't it? Like, in Western culture, when they grow up, it's like, okay, you're out, you're done, 18, 19, you're done. It's funny. What you're saying is priceless. So guys, it was wonderful. Thank you, Spencer, for coming and sharing your wisdom of so many decades and showing us the way that what is the most important thing is not just about chasing money and success and getting arrogant in life, is humble, grounded, spiritual, family, fulfillment, and serving. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Guys, what is the best part of this episode that you really love and you're going to imbibe that in your life? Because the advice that you're getting right now, I really wish I would have been getting this advice when I was 20 and 25. I would have shaped my life much, much different than what I did in the past. So go ahead, share the best learning that you had, the things that you're going to implement in your life, and stay tuned for the next episode of Passionpreneur Podcast, where we transform lives from ordinary to legendary and help people to enter the league of 0.01% people, holistically successful people. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next podcast.